Hello everyone, you're watching DS Ronza 243. I'm kind of in between tired and awake in between. Do you like my shirt? I like it. It's my favorite shirt. They say I have ADD, but they just don't understand. Oh look, a chicken! And that happens actually quite often with me. As you guys may or may not have noticed. Alright, book reading. Sorry for not doing it yesterday, because I was kind of disappointed that no one has watched my other book reading video. And as with us present is Lady D'Agostino. If she had a real name and if she was human, it would be Jennifer. Hi, Lady. Alrighty. So alright. Let's get this reading started. Lay down. I've got such an awesome dog. Alright. Miss Garnett, wait! He called out. She heard him and stopped. They were at the entrance to the castle. She sighed. He stopped beside her. Are you alright? Are you alright? I'm fine, she whispered. I don't think the king is. He's probably crying by now. He shook his head. Don't think that, he said. The properness in his voice was finally gone. He just found out that the mermaid was his niece. I am sure he is in pain because he turned her human. He touched her shoulder. It's not your fault. She looked him in the eyes. It might be my fault. If it's all true, I'm his great-great-grandniece. Or whatever. She swam away. He followed her again. What do you mean, if it's all true? Do you think this memory isn't from your family's ancestor? He was shocked to hear that from her. She stopped swimming. Tears began to fill her eyes. I don't know. She paused. I'm sure it is. I just don't want to believe it. After meeting him, Mr. Ezra nearly gasped. Garnett, that's not nice. What will change your mind? Is there anything that will get you to believe you belong here? She looked down. He lifted her chin. You're a nice woman, Miss Garnett. Whether you're a mermaid or not, you should be following your heart. She smiled weakly. There are a few things, she said. He raised his brows. If I am related to King Adelaide as a niece in some way, he obviously had siblings. If there are any ways of tracking them or their descendants, it's possible they'll know if she had kids or something. He nodded. Plus, if my mom is still alive, she might have come here. Is there any way to find out if anyone new arrived in Aquatica 15 years ago? He bit his lip. There's no way for sure. Except going around town and asking merfolk. I don't think I'm up for that. After helping you, almost everyone seems to be on edge around me. He chuckled. She gave him a frightened look. Oh no, really? She started swimming off. Wait, Garnett, I was half kidding. I was half kidding, he told her, trying to stop her again. I don't want to stir up Aquatica again by asking suspicious questions, that's all. She rubbed the middle of her nose. I know, she sighed. I'm just tired of all this. She took her hand off her nose and closed her eyes. I want to go back home. She paused. I wish I could go back home. I'm sure you do, he whispered. All of a sudden, a mermaid swam past them so fast, she almost made them spin around. She looked worried, yet excited. Uncle! Uncle! She cried. Mr. Ezra and Garnett eyed each other. Let's go, he said. He swam after the mermaid. Garnett followed. Miss, may I help you? He called out. The mermaid turned to him. She recognized him immediately. Mr. Ezra, I need to speak to my uncle. It's about this new mermaid. I've been hearing about. Is it true? Did someone really turn into a mermaid? She nearly cried. She looked bemused, curious, and excited, all at the same time. Garnett and Mr. Ezra were confused. Who was her uncle? Miss, calm down. Let's start from the beginning. What is your name? She sighed. My name is Amethyst Gailton. Now who is this? Her eyes gazed at Garnett, who was a bit frightened by Miss Gailton's behavior. She gazed back at Mr. Ezra. I'm sorry I disturbed your meeting. It's all right, Garnett said. I was just getting ready to leave. She was a bit confused, though, about Miss Gailton's uncle. Why would you want to talk to your uncle? Shouldn't you be asking the king about the mermaid? Miss Gailton gave a soft look. My dear, the king is my uncle. Mr. Ezra and Garnett gasped. That makes sense, Mr. Ezra said. Garnett looked at him. He looked at her. I know I said before that we hardly use our last names, but we do use it when we get married. I remember someone in the royal family marrying a Gailton. Then Garnett shook her head in shock. That would mean, she whispered. She gasped and looked at Miss Gailton. I know this sounds random, but would you know anyone named Amber Tarleton? Miss Gailton was surprised, but she thought about the name. I know one person named Amber, but her last name isn't Tarleton. It's Winsome. She paused, observing this mermaid in front of her. Odd. You do seem to resemble her a bit. Who are you? Garnett smiled, almost chuckling. I'm actually new around here. I turned into a mermaid not too long ago. Miss Gailton's eyes widened again. You're the mermaid? Nettie nodded. The mermaid was shocked, and then she was excited. Well, what's your name? Where are you from? She gasped. Which mermaid are you related to? Do you know? Whoa, hold your horses, Garnett said. That's a lot of questions. I think I know which mermaid I'm related to, but I'm not positive. I was raised on land by my aunt. I didn't know a thing about my mother until recently. I was actually staying in Virginia for a while. She sighed and smiled faintly. My name is Garnett O'Connell. Miss Gailton gasped. Garnett? Garnett nodded. What is your aunt's name? She looked worried, panicked really. Garnet became confused. Why would you ask that? I think you might be related to someone I know, Miss Gailton thought to herself. I think I know who you are looking for. She closed her eyes. Please, Miss Gailton, answer the question. Garnet tried looking her in the eyes. My aunt's name is Kaylee Tarleton. My aunt's name is Kaylee Tarleton. Suddenly, the mermaid became shocked. Oh, she cried. You're here! You have a tail! Oh dear, I never thought I'd meet you down here. Oh dear, she cried again. She became so pale that she fainted. Miss Amethyst! Mr. Ezra cried. He swam to her and caught her before she landed on the ocean floor. The question she was asking finally clicked in Garnet's mind. She gasped. She looked at her. Miss Gailton had red and blonde hair. She had greenish hazel eyes. Her eyes widened. Mr. Ezra! I think she and I are relatives. He looked at Garnet. What? Look at her, she told him excitedly. I almost look like her. She fainted after hearing my aunt's name. You and I both know the king is her uncle. She must know something about my mom and my aunt. Who else would ask Aunt Kaylee's name unless they recognized their relative? She paused. Mr. Ewald looked at her. Mr. Ezra. The next second, they swam away from King Adelaide's castle. They were at Miss Tatum's Cove. They were at Miss Tatum's Cove. Mr. Ezra didn't know where to take Miss Gailton. He figured taking her to Miss Tatum would help. Has she wakened? Has she wakened? She asked. He looked up. Not yet. It's been too long. I don't like this. She left her cooking area with an open clam filled with different things mixed together. She came up to Miss Gailton and lifted the open clam to her nose. Miss Gailton's head twitched. Her eyes fluttered open slowly. She looked around. Where am I? She whispered. You're in Miss Darla's Cove. Don't worry, everything is fine. As she continued looking around, she remembered what happened. She widened her eyes. Where's Garnet? I need to speak to her. Calm down, Miss Tatum said. You need to rest first. From what I heard, your fainting spell could hurt your health. I don't care, she cried. She stared at her. I need to speak to her. Garnet was near the cooking area. She was nervous to come closer to the mermaid, who was indeed a distant relative. She bit her bottom lip and swam to Miss Gailton. She cleared her throat. The mermaid looked at her. She stifled a cry. I can't believe it, she whispered. You barely look like her. Garnet became confused. I don't understand. Why did you faint on my aunt's name like that? As if you know her. Who told you? Miss Gailton closed her eyes. My dear, Miss Garnet, your mother has been looking for you for the past 6 years. Dun dun dun. That is where I'm gonna stop. Alright. Time check. Ooh, perfect timing. Alright, everyone. I will see you tomorrow night, possibly for a karaoke video. Actually, I'll probably have to do it in the morning, because in the afternoon I'll be heading out to my mom's. Because tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Woohoo! Happy Thanksgiving, everyone! Ooh, ooh. Alright, this is the Esperanza 243 signing off.